We're going to talk today about a secure digital future, but doing it at the speed of innovation. And I'm going to be up here shortly with my colleague and friend, Agostino Santoni, who runs Southern Europe for Cisco. We're going through a radical transformation, and it's happening at a speed that none of us have ever experienced. Think about it. What we're used to as humans are ages. So we had the industrial age, 250 years, give or take. We had the information age, 45 years. We had the digital age, 15 years. And now we're in the AI what? The AI micro age? The AI moment? Think about it. For those of us in Cisco, we know that we've had AI embedded in our networks for 15 years. It's nothing new. In the academic literature, AI has been around since the early 60s. Yet only 3.5 years ago did we see its emergence through ChatGPT and it come to the public consciousness. So essentially, the public thinks AI is about 3.5 years old. And it's in the process of getting embedded in everything right now as we speak. It's moving forward so fast, we've already gone from ChatGPT, generative AI, to agentic AI. And pretty soon, we're going to have artificial general intelligence. And then it's going to be embedded in everything, be invisible, disappear. We're going to take it for granted. It's going to be a commodity, and we're going to be on to the next shiny thing, which is quantum. Let's look at the data associated with the advent of AI. AI isn't just increasing the threat landscape, it's mechanizing it. It's industrializing it. Back in 2015, cybercrime accounted for about $3 trillion. About $3 trillion of damage to economies. By 2031, the estimate it's going to be $12 trillion. Today, if cybercrime was an economy, it would be the third largest economy in the world behind the United States and China. Think about that. There are entire countries whose GDP, to some degree or another, depends on what they steal through cybercrime. Some of them, it accounts for as much as 20%. The challenge, of course, to companies and to countries is that everyone knows the change is happening. Everyone knows that cybercrime is a threat. In fact, 87% say the AI risks are rising faster than they can keep up, because only 13% say they're ready. Think about that gap. The gap between who's ready and the threat that's out there. There is no stopping this. It's only going to get more and more efficient over time. And the key here is that it's not about technology. That's not what's holding us back. It's the human skills. And this transformation that's taking place is happening again at such a rapid rate that having the skills necessary to keep up is going to be the greatest challenge of the next 20 years. Because, according to the World Economic Forum, 170 million jobs, new jobs, are going to be created. Jobs maybe that we don't even have a title for yet. We certainly don't have a job description. At the exact same time, during those same 3 years, 90 million jobs are going to be displaced. So imagine that. From no fault of their own, 90 million people are going to lose their job because of technology transition. So what do we owe them? I think we owe them a new job. I think we owe them some training as technologists, as industry, as academia, as governments. We need to retrain those 90 million so that they can contribute to the 170 million deficit that we're going to be experiencing between now and 2030. Plus we have 80 million net new people to skill up for the first time. It's a massive undertaking, and nobody's going to be able to do it alone. That's why industry, academia, and governments have to come together in order to pull this off. We had a project at Cisco that we started a couple of years ago. We brought together all the big boys and girls in our industry. We brought together Google, Microsoft, Accenture, Indeed, all of these big, massive conglomerates of tech. And we asked the question, what is AI going to do to the 50 most in-demand jobs in our industry? What's going to be the impact? And we studied it. We put together the AI Consortium workbook, which now will actually show you what the old jobs are, what the new jobs are, with AI embedded, and what the training is to get from where you are to where you need to be. What we learned was that 90% of all ICT jobs are going to be dramatically impacted by AI. Personally, I think that number is 100, that the 10% that reported that it weren't going to be impacted by AI are in denial. But let's just say it's 90%. It's overwhelming. What are the implications of getting this right? If we skill at the speed of innovation, and let me explain what I mean by that. Innovation is happening at basically the speed of Moore's law. Our entire industry is churning every 18 months. If you went to G2's keynote, that's all been developed in the last 6 to 12 months. Everything that was presented, that's an entire churning, not just of Cisco's products and services, it's an entire churning of our industry, setting a whole new standard, a whole new benchmark that then will be churned again in 18 to 24 months. We get the skilling right, we're contributing $6.5 trillion to global GDP by 2030. Now you combine that with the 6.7 trillion that we could contribute to global GDP by connecting the 35% of the world that's not connected to the internet in any meaningful way. And you're talking about a wholesale $13 trillion change to the world markets. That's the sort of power that's sitting in this room. That's the sort of power that's sitting in this building. I want to leave you, before I hand it to Agostino, with some other sorts of thoughts, more contextual than anything. With all of this change, with the power of AI, the more artificial the intelligence, the more critical the human in the loop. The more critical the human imperative. And let me sort of explain what I mean by that. So before joining Cisco 12 years ago, I was a university vice chancellor. And for those 10 years, I watched as engineering programs skyrocketed. Everybody wanted to study engineering. Mechanical, electrical, petroleum, didn't matter. If it was engineering, biomedical, they were all signing up for it. Hard sciences, chemistry, biology, biochemistry, computer science, all skyrocketed. At the same time, we saw a 30% fall off in the humanities. I mean, just a cratering. Nobody wanted to study humanities, and I get it, because the engineers and the scientists were making 3 times as much as the humanities majors, the liberal arts majors. Yet here we are, come full circle. And we're seeing what I love to call the revenge of the humanities, coming back with a vengeance. Why? Because technology has taken such good care of us. When you have access to all of the information in the world at your fingertips, what becomes the most important skill? Asking the right questions. The domain of the humanities. It's going to be important to be able to have fundamental training and understanding of languages, philosophy, ethics, problem solving, the humanities. And I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, matter, or form that an electrical engineering major at a university is going to change their major to philosophy. That's not what I'm talking about. That's never going to happen. What I am suggesting is that the best well-rounded engineers and technologists and scientists moving forward are going to have an injection of the humanities into their curriculum, into their background. Because those skills that we have forgotten are now more relevant than ever. The more artificial the intelligence, the more important the human in the loop moving forward. What it comes down to is the fact that with technology, where it is now, where it's going, answering the question, can we, is easy. The answer is going to be probably yes. We need people capable of answering the question, should we? Because those are much more difficult questions to respond to. The difference between can we and should we will be a defining factor in what the future looks like for we as technologists and the companies with whom we work. With that, I'm going to invite up my colleague and friend, Agostino Santoni, to continue the conversation. Thanks very much.
Well done, as usual. Thank you. Good afternoon. So, what I'm offering you before starting my presentation, I ask you to close your eyes for 5 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Close your eyes for 5 seconds. Welcome to Cisco Live 2025. Last year, talent, cloud, sustainability. Do you remember? How fast you are moving your workloads to the cloud. Board request to CEO. How fast? How fast you make an agreement with the hyperscalers. Please assess your IT infrastructure to make sure that the infrastructure is sustainable. Do you remember these old days? Raise your hands. Close your eyes. 5 seconds. Welcome to Cisco Live 2026. What you notice? There is another S. It's not security. It's not sustainability. These are mainstream in our infrastructure. There is a new S that is sovereignty. There is a new thing, AI. Stay with me. I will not bother you with AI. Relax, enjoy. And there is a common bridge between last year and this year that is talent. Talent remains. Technology changed. And reflecting on it, when we were thinking about innovation, we are, of course, as Cisco, we are so proud about our innovation capability. But at the same time, innovation means also how can you make your technology sustainability ready? And how can you consider ability to innovate? How can you consider sovereignty at the same time? This is what I'm going to talk about. I really would like to showcase what we are doing this year to make sure that we are helping all of you to be ready in your talent pipeline creation, to be AI-powered, and how to make sure that you have the opportunity to have choice, control, and autonomy of your own infrastructure. Trust. Trust is not static. Trust is dynamic. Trust is part of Cisco culture. For those of you that are in Europe, we are in Europe since 30+ years. We are actually accelerating our investments in so many countries. And Guy, thanks to you and your team, massive investments. I have so many examples. We have a chip design center in Spain. We are helping Spain, the talents in Spain, to be more competitive. We are innovation center all over the countries. We have innovation centers in Paris. So trust is part of Cisco culture. Trust is the way we are creating our platform. Trust is the way we are serving our customers. Trust is the way we are evolving our partner program. And it's dynamic. It is not static. Now, trust is talent. That's my favorite words. Talent is equally distributed in the world. Opportunities are not. And we are the bridge. We, Cisco, we are the bridge. And then you can say, hey, come on, give me an example. Last year, in the region, we trained 2.1 million people. 2.1 million people. That means that now, while we are here, there are 8,500 people in one of the largest classrooms in the world that are trained on AI, on cybersecurity, and networking. 8,500 people. Who is looking for talents? Who wants to hire an AI specialist? Who wants to hire a cybersecurity expert? Who is looking at a network specialist to make sure that their infrastructure is AI ready? 8,500 students now are in our Cisco classroom. Trust. It's real. And then you can say people. Which people? Students at the university. Reskilling people in the IT organization, reskilling soldiers, reskilling people in public and private sector organizations, giving a second chance to people that is not working, unemployed people. So this is the things that we are doing while we are preparing, as you have seen yesterday, the platform, the technology for the AI journey. And then there is the other part that is sovereignty. The 24th of September, we made part of a global program, one super important announcement for Europe. Our CEO, Chuck Robbins, together with our EMEA president, we announced the Sovereign Critical Infrastructure Portfolio, a set of products and services ready to help you to give choice, control, and autonomy. Let me give you an example of 2 meetings I had. Recently, I was invited to present our Sovereign Critical Infrastructure Portfolio to 2 boards. One big retailer in Europe and one telco operator in Europe as well, big one. 3 main takeaways. The board, not the CTO, not the CIO, the board. 3 takeaways. First, boards wants to have a clear view of the company data strategy. What does it mean, company data strategy? I really would like to know that all the AI workloads, where the data are, how you manage it, how you structure your data strategy. Priority number 1. Priority number 2, they want to see an IT assessment in the context of sovereignty. We have done it before, right? Before it was security. I want to make sure from the governance perspective that the infrastructure is by design secure and all the policies on top, right? We have done it in most of the cases. We are not yet done, but we are in that process. And then we say, hey, it has to be sustainable, of course. And now there is a new chapter that, hey, I want to see your vendor strategy. I want to see how your infrastructure is ready in case of crisis, where crises are geopolitical conflict. I mean, so many. News. This is a new thing. And there is a strong pressure on it. And this pressure is going to go through the organization, through the CEO, CIO, CTO, and our amazing infrastructure. Are you ready, yes or no? That's why we are so proud to have this portfolio ready for you. And the third element is, yes, I want to know which use cases you are adopting as a company. At the same time, I want to make sure that all these use cases, we know how to manage this data. Back to G2 presentation. You probably remember most of the data now are in the business processes from machine. Do you remember this statement? The data that are coming from machine has embedded the intellectual property of the company. Think intellectual property for a second. Don't think about data. Because data is data. Okay, it's data. Think about that in that machine, you have intellectual property that is moving from one place to another. Does it make sense to have some governance on top? I think so. That's why we have introduced a Cisco critical infrastructure portfolio. Super important. And it's a big investment for Cisco. Why? Because you have choice in how you deploy technology. I have a great example of it. One of the most relevant business processes that we have is the contact center, in public and private. And you know, from the technology perspective, you can make decisions. You can say, you know what? Back to 2025, my strategy is going to be 1. I will move everything in the cloud. Agile, latest features, up and running. You remember? It's a good strategy. Click 2026. You know what? The contact center is taking from an hospital patient data. And you run an hospital, and you run a country. Would you be available to give all this data to someone in the world now, in the new context, or you would like to have choice? I would like to have choice. From the technology perspective, Cisco, what we said, we have choices. You can say, I'm going to run my contact center by the cloud, or I'm going to run the contact center on-prem, where when I'm on-prem, I'm in full control of my destiny. Then you can say, easy. It's not easy at all, because it requires strategic investments, because you have to combine the investment in both on-prem and on cloud. I'm sure you know what I mean. This decision is not coming in a fraction of seconds. This decision is coming because we saw that. Splunk. Observability is top of mind. Why? Because you have to run the AI infrastructure, amazing performances, so your network has to deliver incredible performances, and at the same time, you would like to see what's going on. And what's going on means data, and data relevant to options. Would you like to run it on the cloud, or would you like to run it on-prem? Choice, both. You can decide. You can decide your own destiny. From Cisco point of view, significant investment. That is a great example of choice. By the way, these are two of several we have. Control. Back to the Splunk conversation. Observability is critical. The understanding of the real meaning of sovereignty is super important. What does it mean, air gap? Data privacy. How can I protect my IP? How can I run the business? So my humble suggestion to all of you, please, please, please invest your time in understanding from the infrastructure point of view, what does it mean, sovereignty? It's a big statement. And we need to be super connected on this because we spend incredible amount of talents and investment and energy to be able to support you on this journey. And third, autonomy. I want to run my infrastructure. I don't want to be bothered by Cisco in case of crisis. Can I do it with Cisco technology? Yes. In part of our portfolio, product and services, you will run your business standalone. This is what we wish, not as a citizen of the world, but at the same time, we acknowledge that the most relevant process that we have to take care in these days is how to manage risks. And it's super relevant in the decision process. So that's why we are in this journey. As a conclusion, this is the 2026 slide. And it's amazing to see how the dynamic of our journey is coming in such an environment. So, of course, we have to look why we are running our amazing infrastructure around the ever-changing geopolitical thing, the cybersecurity aspect that is still very active, very, very active. We have to watch out around sustainability because it's still there, luckily. And then we have to take sovereignty AI and the talent in the same conversation. It's an amazing moment for all of us being in this industry. And the main reason I'm saying it, because in the past, we were, for those of you that were in the IT industry or are in the IT industry, for a lot of years, we have been in a corner like a nice technician or developers, right? Now we are daily in the press and in the news, our industry. So we are even more accountable to define a new world. And I wish all of you an amazing new world, AI-powered, and count on us on helping you to achieve your business outcome. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful Cisco Live.